Wow, the information that you both have provided is incredibly helpful in understanding what is important to create a successful partnership between universities and communities. Unfortunately, we've reached the end of our time. What final thoughts do you have?
Well, I guess I'll start first. I think one of the things that we learned through all of our research when we were writing our textbook is that, I guess in general, the science of violence or violence prevention science is really big. And historically, what we've been doing is spending a lot of time and looking at, EBPs or evidence-based practice and programs and really looking at what's working more on an individual or school basis. And so what this grant is, what the CDC has done with the national centers or the academic centers of excellence in youth violence prevention is make this very, very large project, which is fantastic. But one thing that's really important is that it requires like multi-component interventions, and the implementation procedures are sometimes extremely complicated, and really it involves a lot of different components. So one of the things that we found when we were doing our research is that researchers are used to doing projects, used to doing research, but when it comes to something on this scale, I think what happens is that sometimes there can be kind of a conflict in, how do you say it, skill level. So for example, as researchers, okay, using myself, I'm very good at doing research design, studies, and making all this happen. But if I were to be, let's say, the investigator on this project, in addition to the skills and knowledge base and experience that I have as doing my research, I now also have to use the skills that are required for people that do programs. So for example, I have to be able to do things I've never done before. I have to really look at budgets differently. I have to think about program implementation. I have to think about smaller things that are extremely important. But what this does is it really forces me to either have to gain new skills very quickly so that things can be successful on a project aspect or the research from the research side, or I have to use the skills that I already have. And the other thing is I have to really rely on the folks that are working with me to make sure that all these things are being done. So I think kind of like my end thoughts would just be that in general, something on this magnitude just requires different skill set almost, and for researchers it's something they really need to be attentive to as far as either develop the skills, find people that have the skills, continually do evaluation of yourself, and really anything you can do, because I think it can quickly get out of control because it's incredibly complicated. But in the end, I'm just very excited that we're doing this kind of research and putting these things together. So anyway, but yeah, I could talk forever and ever, and I know we're running out of time, so I appreciate you giving us the time to talk about this. Did you have any other questions?
Uh,
No. Oh, no. Dr. Spence, do you have any final comments?
I did. I just want to add on that from my experience, a true defining factor of community-based participatory research would be the necessary inputs of the community in each step of the research process. No matter how small it may seem, partnering with the individuals of the community really results in the true real-world experience of the community as a researcher, as you gain the basically the inside scoop of what consequently leads to the contextual findings and knowledge learned, which is really relevant to the community. So, like Dr. Bauer said, we are both big advocates for CBPR and have personally seen the benefits of this research, and the process that this research allows us to do really creates an outlet to all community members, and community members who might feel like they don't have a voice really get to speak more and feel empowered by this, by community capacity, by building the community capacity to address the necessary change. So that's pretty much what I wanted to say to add that
Oh,
in.
I want to add one more thing because Dr. Spencer brought up some good points. But I think just in general, because I think I know I went straight to what the researcher challenges part are, but of course I do want to, concur with what in our book you'll see we're not just talking about NCAs. We're really looking at our research is about many different places throughout the country, and we're just highlighting the things about NCAs of some strengths and some things that we could have done better. But in general, I think that partnerships between universities and communities, there's a lot of success, and I think we just need to continue learning what we can, doing the research, and continuing with it so that we can really help each other to add some things that are sustainable in the community.
All right. Well, thank you both very much for joining me today. This has been the latest edition of In the Real World, and we look forward to seeing you next time.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.